Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. This week, I'm hosting. My name is Greg Lassiter. We have a great show for you when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. And that just drives me crazy.
Hey, welcome back to 30 Frames a Second. This week we got a great show. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the Ebola crisis that's happening all over the world and how it's being affected in America. But I got a great guest. I don't know, there's too many things to say about this guy. He's a political pundit. He's also an activist, and he's also a dear friend of mine. His name is James McCrae, and he's on the phone with us today. Hey, James, welcome to 30 Frames, man. How are you?
I'm great.
So, James,
how you doing, sir?
I'm good, man.
The opportunity to be a part of your show today.
Thank you, sir. Now, let's get right to it. Let's just jump right in. Let's talk about Ebola, man. Now, we know that Ebola has been happening in the African country, and America or any other country, I think, could care less about what was happening. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. You got to look at where it started, which is Western Africa, West Africa, if I'm not mistaken. You look over there and you see that the most outbreaks have been occurring over there, and they're the hardest hit.
Right.
And now, according to news.com, they've got the hardest, the highest concentration of cases. Places like Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia. These are places that are getting hit hard by this virus, man.
Right. Now, my thing is, too, when the brother that came over from Liberia, when he landed in Texas. Duncan, that's right. It was Timothy Duncan. And God rest his soul. May he rest in peace. He was sent away with 103 temperature. And he even said to them that he may have Ebola.
Well, you know what the ongoing problem is. People such as us, people of color, when you go to the doctor, you can expect to wait 3 hours or 3 days in the emergency room. So I'm not really surprised, especially where he was at in Texas.
Right.
And I'm not trying to make this a racial issue. Please don't think that. But you got to look at it. The man went to the hospital trying to get checked on. He stated, I'm just coming from Africa. I may have Ebola. What fool would let him out the door?
Right.
So you're talking about their protocol is terrible.
Right. And now Ebola is popping up all over America. So everybody's saying it's not an epidemic. It's becoming an epidemic. And you know the sad part of it? We are not even prepared for it. The nurses union said, you know what, they are afraid because they're not prepared. They haven't been trained properly. The nurse that worked on Timothy Duncan is right now diagnosed with Ebola and is not doing well. Exactly. Now, I don't know. What I'm thinking is every hospital in America should be prepared for this epidemic. You know, and remember, America didn't worry about it, and we could call it what it is. It's a race thing. If America was not, they didn't give jack about the African countries and Ebola. They only cared about it when it started affecting America.
Right, white America.
White America, right. And
Duncan, so what? Go home. You got 103 virus. You may have Ebola. We don't think so. Go home.
But you know what?
Days later, you die.
But you know what? What I find that strange that they would do that, knowing that if he has Ebola, that can affect the whole country and everybody he came in contact with. They quarantined his family with armed guards.
Right. Now they've got guards posted outside the nurse's home also. So, I mean, I think you're hitting it on the head, Greg. if this isn't waking us up as a people, I don't know. This is just one of the things, and I still think this is used as a distraction with everything else going on around the world.
Right.
But it's real.
Right. It's real, and you can die.
You just said this gentleman came in contact with hundreds of people between those airports in Africa and here.
Right, because he went from Liberia to Sweden, from Sweden to Dulles Airport in Washington D.C., from Dulles down to Dallas, Texas. Now, how many people did he come in contact with?
Man, I'm just thinking about my episodes at the airport, especially Philly, places like that, major hubs.
Right.
You're going to contact hundreds, maybe thousands of people, especially people on, think about the people on the plane. Everybody on that plane was in contact with this gentleman.
Right.
They're spread out.
And see, now, I personally think this is going to get way out of hand.
Yes.
And there's nothing we could do about it. There's absolutely nothing. This is going to be the 21st century's Black Plague.
I agree. I totally agree. It has the potential to roll over into that.
Right.
And but what we got to stop doing, Greg, you're talking about using these experimental. Why? You got a cure. There's a cure out there because it's worked on 2 or 3 other people.
Right. How does it work on 2 other people and don't work? I know everybody's system is different.
Right.
But why does these 2 people? The first guy, he's giving blood.
Right.
You know. So
exactly. He's giving blood to try to cure the latest victims.
Something's amiss. I think something's wrong. And I hate to call it a race thing, but now, see, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy nut, right? But a black man or black woman that comes from Africa, what community is he coming in?
Of course, he's coming back to a black community 9 times out of 10.
Right. So what does that say?
Or a mixed community, and you still got the same issues, the same impact.
Right. So, I call me a conspiracy nut, but look at it. I look at it for what it is.
Exactly.
Now,
everything's done for a reason, in my opinion. If you got a virus, why in the world, if you know the man has Ebola, would you use an experimental drug on this gentleman when you know there's a cure? Use the one that cures other people.
Right. And what is that all about?
A highly dense area where he was at, where he took it back to, because they got his whole family quarantined.
Right. And I don't know if any of those guys are sick.
I hope not. I don't think so. There haven't been any reports that I know of.
And then you got the correspondents, Nancy Snyderman, who is a medical correspondent from NBC. She takes her camera crew over there so they can get the story, their next Emmy, and look what happened to them. One of the cameramen is infected with Ebola, and the rest of them are quarantined. That's silly. That to me is just idiotic. That's just idiotic to me. Now, I don't know, President Obama, I don't even know, he hasn't said too much about it. I don't get that. I mean, we have potential to have an epidemic.
Right.
And he has not spoke on it at all.
Everything is strategic with Obama, so we're probably going to hear from him a little later, maybe this week or next week. So he's not just going to come out there and throw something out there. It's going to be well strategized before we hear about what's going on, because that's how he usually operates. So I don't know if that's good or bad right now. We do need to hear something from him.
Right.
Something, because you got a lot of lives at stake. And I'm saying you got these people off that plane, and I'm assuming there were more than 200 people on that plane.
Right. Right
there at it.
Right.
And they're out. They're spread out.
Right.
One might be next door to me. I don't know.
Right. Because you know what? And I don't even know how would you even handle a situation like that? Get the manifest list get the manifest list of the airlines that he's come in contact with. That's crazy, because he was on at least 3 or 4 different flights. So we're talking 250 plus on 4 planes. That's a lot of people.
Right.
Where do we go? Where do we go from here, Mac? Where do we go from here?
Hey man, you have to be careful. First of all, health. And like I know, when we get a certain age, health becomes secondary. We've got to break out of that mold.
Right.
We got to stay in that gym. We got to do the healthy thing. Me personally, I like the holistic approach. Leave that medicine alone, because medicine most of the time is just masking the problem. It's just a temporary fix. But if you eat right, stay healthy, and do the little things, the stuff you can look up online, as much as I hate doing that a lot.
Right.
Some of that stuff is true. You can buy a lot of holistic stuff. Go to your mom's store. It's called Mom's here in the DMV.
Right.
buy a lot of holistic stuff to boost your immune system. Because this sucker is coming our way, man. You've got to be ready for it. And if your body is weak, you're going to be one of the first to fall.
What would you say to the community of color? What advice would you have for them, Mac?
Man, be careful. We have to be careful. One, we got to come together. Just like with anything else. If you even think you have it, go get checked out. Matter of fact, go get checked out before you do. Black men in America, we have this stigma that we're still strong, like steel, Iron Man, Superman, whatever you want to call us.
Right.
But you got to go get checked out. If you cough, go to the doctor.
Right. Right.
Just say, and if they send you home with 103 degrees, me personally, it's time to raise some hell up in that doctor's office.
Right.
I'm not going home. You're going to charge me whatever you're going to charge me. My insurance, hopefully my insurance cover it, but I'm going to be right here. And then I'm going to try to sue you.
Right. But we also have to tell people, because the vast majority of America does not have health insurance. Do not be deterred because not having health insurance. Go to the hospital. Go to the emergency room. Because technically, they can't refuse medical treatment. And why would they if you feel that you have Ebola or anything? You know, this Ebola symptom is just like a lot. You know, it could be the flu. But go as soon as you feel that it's not happening. Right?
According to the most recent numbers, it's like 4,500 dead already. So you better pay attention to the signs and symptoms of this thing. And I'm trying to pull them up now so I can give people an overview of what they're looking at.
Right.
Fever, severe headache, muscle pain, weakness, diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal, almost like the flu.
Almost like the flu, right?
Unexplained hemorrhaging or bleeding. I said stomach pain. And they may appear from anywhere from 2 to 21 days after exposure to Ebola.
But you
the
know,
average is 8 to 10 days.
Right.
And your recovery depends on good supportive clinical care and patient's immune response. I just said that.
Right. Now, also, too, the only way you can get Ebola is the exchange of any kind of body fluids.
Fluid.
Right. So you can't, somebody standing next to you have Ebola. Because you remember, they did the same thing with AIDS. You got AIDS or HIV, people freaked out.
Right.
The only way you can get Ebola is the exchange of body fluids.
Yep. And you know they're pushing the same bull that it first became apparent in us through an infected animal. Right.
Right.
The animal was in a lab.
Right.
That was created. That virus, in my opinion, was created to do just what it's doing.
Right. And Ebola, give us the history of Ebola, Mac?
Well, according to this, like I said, as of today, we've got like 4,400. That was this morning on BBC. They reported that there were 4,400 cases.
4,400 cases where?
Mostly in West Africa.
Right. Okay. But what about the people that died? The number of people that died from it?
That's it. That was it. That was the number that we're at now, 4,500.
Wow.
According to BBC. Now,
okay.
This is, I don't know how accurate that information is.
Right.
But that's where they're saying.
We're gonna get some calls. We're gonna get some calls and talk to other people about what they think and are they scared? Because it's easy. America's easy to be frightened, and that's what the media does. They frighten you, to believe in something when something's not true. And I want to get the feel of what my listeners and viewers are saying about how they feel about Ebola. So you guys put up the number and call in and let us know. Now, I don't know, Mac. This guy was in D.C. Dulles Airport's actually outside of D.C. How many people did he come in contact just in D.C.?
I'm scared, man. I'm telling you, I'm not too far from there.
Right. So you're in the suburbs of D.C. as well, right?
Right. Exactly. I'm 30 minutes from D.C.
Right.
And Dulles Airport maybe an hour, but like I said, these people are transplanting back home. So I don't know if somebody was at the airport that day when he went through there that I'm next door to, or I go to the gym and work out with.
Right.
Who the hell knows? Right. I don't. It's not like I can come. Look, were you in Africa a couple weeks ago, or were you, elsewhere? Were you at the airport? I need to see something.
Right.
But this is a disease that was dates back to '76, and the Ebola comes from where it came from, the Ebola River in Zaire.
Right.
So you're talking about that's where it originated, and back then, like according to the stats I'm looking at, 88% of the people who got it died.
Right.
First 318. So you're talking about 88% of those are dead.
That's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. You can't rely on this. There's a cure. If it's back in '76, I'm about 120% sure that there's a cure out there for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Now you got to utilize that.
Right. But they say, how pharmaceuticals, there's no money in curing anybody for them.
No. You put a Band-Aid on it.
But you know what?
Come back to me to get, help for it.
Timothy Duncan left, he left Liberia. Rumor, I don't know how true this is, rumor has it that he knew he had Ebola. And they actually charged him. If he lived and had to go back to Liberia, they would have charged him. So my guess is he left Liberia to come to the U.S. because of the better medicine we have.
Right.
What do you think about that?
That makes sense. I mean, you would, in hopes of trying to save yourself, even though you're endangering the lives of thousands of people that you're going to come in contact with.
Right.
If they, if you sneeze or whatever, and the mucous membranes and all that stuff, they touch you, and that's a chance you're taking. But
let me ask you this.
Assuming that's what he was doing, trying to get back home to get help.
Let me ask you this. What would you do?
That's a good-ass question. Excuse me. That's a good question.
What would you do?
Because I'm telling you, I love my life.
Right.
And if I thought that I had the chance to get better help here, who knows? I don't know. But if you put me in that position, I'm going to live. I'm going to try to live. I'm going to fight. If I think I'm going to get better, maybe I have to go to the embassy. Look, quarantine me, but get me home.
Right.
Right. I'm not going to try to take thousands of people with me. I can't roll like that because then that blood is on my hands. But quarantine me. I'm making it known. This is what he did when he got to the States. He did now.
Right. Right.
Not before, but when he got home.
Yeah.
I think I have Ebola.
Yeah.
That was dismissed.
Right. Right. Now I want my viewers. Thomas Eric Duncan left Liberia knowing that he had Ebola. I want my viewers to call in and discuss this with us. If you knew you had Ebola and you were in a third world country like Liberia and you knew what would happen if you come into the contact with all the people trying to get to America, what would you do? That's what I want to know. What would you do? And I think that most people wouldn't think about, most people wouldn't care about affecting anyone else. They want to live. I mean, that's just human nature. Wouldn't you agree? Are you there, Mac?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, because this guy was going home to see his father. According to reports, he was going to see his father. His father was sick. So that's what sent him back home to Liberia. The hospital over there had agreed to set up a camera in the isolated room of his father after he was, this is for his daughter, I'm sorry.
Right.
Carcia Duncan,
Right.
I think that's his daughter. So they wanted, I guess they were trying to be humane and let the family see Duncan.
Right.
But, wow.
Right.
The nurse, and they're still trying to figure out how she contracted it.
Well, she was the one, she worked on Thomas Eric Duncan.
Right.
So I figured, see, my thing is this. If you're, they say be prepared for Ebola, okay? My thing is this, wear gloves, wear masks.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, this is what we need to do. We need some training, but I mean, technically, if you're in a hospital and then somebody says, I got this disease, which can be with any disease, you would take precautionary measures. I don't know how she didn't take precautionary measures to contract this. I have no clue. I have no clue. Now I know The CDC is always, you know, I heard this crazy story about Thomas Eric Duncan. I don't know if you heard it. I think it was posted on my social media. I think you might have posted where, and I heard that this was a rumor, where the drugs that they used worked, the drugs didn't work on black people.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of silly.
Yeah.
It was total ignorance. First time I read, what is this? You know, and that's what I posted. What is this BS?
Okay.
If it's gonna work on a Caucasian, why wouldn't it work on a black man?
Okay. You know what, Mac? Hold tight. We got a call.
Got it.
Caller, welcome to 30 Frames a Second.
Yes, hello, am I on?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes, I wanted to disagree with you. I believe that we have an epidemic because it's affecting at least 3 African countries. So this is not an endemic, it's an epidemic. And if it continues and it spreads already to Spain and it spreads already to this country, it might become a pandemic, which is even worse.
You're absolutely right.
With the Spanish flu, the Hong Kong flu back in 1917.
That's right.
Also, like you said, the bubonic plague.
Right.
The brother, unfortunately, not so much that he was black that he got turned away, but he got turned away from the hospital because he didn't have any health benefits.
Right, and that's crazy. I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, it's a class thing, and America has always been about class.
That's right.
Just because it's not a monarchy anymore, it's an aristocracy.
Right.
It's the same song, it's just a different singer.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, Mac, he was absolutely right, Mac.
Yeah.
It's already an epidemic. Mac, hold tight for a second. We got another call. Caller, welcome to 30 Frames a Second.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi, you there? You're on the air, caller?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much kindly.
Okay. All right, we got another.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to just point out first the source of the issue is some of the foods that are eaten in Africa. All the respect, I'm from Africa as well, North Africa.
Okay.
And I know of fact there's what you may call the bush meat, which they keep eating, and they found somewhat in science that also that could be the cause of it.
What is bush
so now
meat?
We're not talking about black, white, we're not talking about rich and poor. We're talking about sources of the issue now. Statistically speaking, shows for the numbers are not that great to call it epidemic, but yet I find that the solution exists, and I think they should take care of that problem, even though in Africa itself at the moment.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. You said bush meat. Could you explain to us what that is?
Okay, bush meat, basically it's a monkey meat, monkey dried meat, which is favorable food in Africa. And the main source of it, knowing for years and years, and I'm 58 years old, and I was born in North Africa, Morocco.
Okay.
And some of the issues came from Mauritania, Senegal, Nigerian times. Some of the African countries, they know better the source of that issue, and so they don't eat that bush meat.
Right.
But bush meat is a monkey meat.
Right. Okay.
So let me ask you this, sir. Is this what caused the outbreak in 76, them eating the bush meat?
I cannot point out and say for a fact that it's the case, because each case should be taken care of individually.
Right.
Okay? But from learning from science, okay, there is no cure. There are treatments, and there's prevention. And bushmeat is one of the main sources, because we learned that from monkeys it comes such Ebola.
But they said this, sir, they said this also about AIDS, that bushmeat caused AIDS, or
not
eating
quite
monkey meat.
Sir, all due respect, we're not talking conspiracies, we're not talking governments, we're talking about health issues.
No, I'm not saying conspiracy. Listen to what I'm saying. They said the same thing that you're saying causing Ebola caused AIDS. So which one is it causing?
Okay, not quite. But you see, at the end of the day is what you eat, that's who you are. All right? What you eat, that's who you are, eventually.
Right.
That's correct.
I mean, we're fragile and we are exposed to all kind of issues, but to try to prevent is first not to eat this and that and here and there. And of course now, AIDS been with us since forever throughout history.
Right.
The question is, as they exist, all these viruses, there's a reason why they wake up. You know, like any other thing. It could
Right.
be in my bathroom when I brush my teeth and not worry about.
Was sent home on a stretcher with a high fever.
Right.
The family is wondering why Duncan was not
You
moved
you continue. Are you still there, sir?
hospital in Atlanta.
Okay.
Now
Mac, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. That's interesting. I've heard that as well about monkey meat. But like you said, Mac, it was the same thing that started the whole AIDS epidemic, if I may.
Right, it was the exact same thing. So, which is it causing is the monkey meat? And I'm not disputing what the gentleman says is home.
Right.
But, and I respect his opinion on that. But is it causing AIDS and Ebola?
Right.
A monkey arm? I mean, what is it?
But
So
you know
that's
what?
I'm confused about that point, and I do understand what he's saying. That your
But-
diet and what you're eating, plays a part in some of these viruses that we got reawakening.
Right.
Reawakening.
There's unsubstantiated, no evidence. I've not heard anybody say that Ebola started from, eating bush meat. I've never even heard that. So that's something new today that I've learned. I'm gonna have to go back because I don't know. I've not heard anybody talk about it. It's unsubstantiated and there's no evidence. We have another call. Caller, you're on the line. Welcome to 30 Frames a Second.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Brother Lassiter. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
All right. In the case of Brother Duncan, lying about not having any disease when he left Liberia, I can say that I honestly can't blame him.
Right.
Because he knew that this was the only place that he could possibly get help. Now, in actuality, from what I understand, there are only 4 hospitals in the United States that are equipped to deal with this Ebola virus, and there was a gentleman even in Germany that passed away yesterday
Right.
from contracting this disease. Now, as far as when he got to the hospital, the nurse did not relay the fact that he was in West Africa to the doctor.
Right.
Okay, and so the doctors had no idea, and they sent him home.
Right.
And he came back 2 days later, and those two days are very crucial for somebody that has a 103-degree fever. That's almost fatal.
Right.
Okay, so he should have been dealt with right there and then.
Because you know what? Not to cut you off.
I have reservations.
Right.
On the race thing, because I wanted to see what was being said by the family members, and
Right.
someone from the family did think that it was a racial thing,
Right.
and they did say it had to do because he was black,
Right.
and the fact that they did send him home.
But he did.
But the only good thing that may come out of this is they can sue the hospital.
Yeah, but you know what? They did.
But that's not going to bring him back.
Absolutely. But he did, however, tell them when he got there the first time that he had traveled from West Africa and that he may have Ebola.
And they sent him home.
Right.
And
That right there is just, a black man, I don't get it. I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Knowing that.
And also the reason why Obama probably hasn't said too much either is because he's trying to make sure that he doesn't get killed in his own house.
Right.
Right. With the Secret Service people coming over and the doors not being locked and stuff like that. He's trying to make sure that his house is in order before he can speak on everybody else. So
Right.
I can't really blame him for being mum on it. But it's like the brother said, it's all a strategic thing, and at the proper time, I'm sure that he will say something about it.
Right. Mac, you still there, right? Thanks for calling.
Still here, man.
All right.
And look, there's an article out there called AIDS and Ebola, Where Did They Really Come From, by Leonard G. Horowitz.
Okay.
You might want to check that out. It breaks down how the U.S. in the 70s appropriated about $10 million to initiate an adequate program to make some new ineffective microorganisms.
Right.
I already know what that's used for.
Right.
Biological warfare.
Exactly. I think we have another caller. Hold on, Mac. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the air. Welcome to 30 Frames a Second.
Yeah. How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'll be real quick. I'll try to be. This is a very interesting topic, and I'm glad you are having this show and this dialogue
Thank you.
because it brings a lot of attention to the situation. And my heart goes out to the Duncan family. But, I don't have any specific paper facts or spiritual facts. That brother was probably set up, and he was probably definitely killed. They probably are harvesting organs. And that's what's going on, because they're not, I was watching Democracy Now!, and they're not letting these people touch their, the so-called dead. These people who have acquired this so-called disease, this Ebola. And traditionally, African people, we love to, bury our people and be around them. They're not letting these people touch these people because the big thing is these organs are being harvested. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what's really going on. You have a white man that goes, this white doctor, whoever he was, who catches Ebola and comes back to America and survives. And then this black man, no matter what his situation was, he felt that he needed to come over here or not, whatnot. I know they silenced that man. Don't have any facts or proof, but I know they silenced that brother. And for
brother, let me ask you this, brother.
Yes,
Didn't they just find a young gentleman in the lake or in the river up north with all his organs missing? That was just in the news.
Thank you.
Well, not in the news, but it's hearsay in the last 2 days.
You see?
Yeah.
There was a young gentleman they found dead with all his organs missing, and this is up north.
Thank you.
I can't pinpoint where it was.
Right.
So what you're saying about the organ harvesting, I think is true.
Okay, continue. You finish up, caller. You have something else to say?
Yeah. He had a show, the radio show, and he was he'd come on every Sunday, and Dick Gregory had said the same thing. Dick Gregory was saying that these organs are being harvested at alarming rates, especially black men and black women and black children. Right after that show, they canceled Brother Leroy. Now, what's also going on? The white dude who called and said he don't want to talk about conspiracy and bush meat.
Right.
That's what they always go to.
Right.
Those the Wazunga, the white supremacists will always go to that low degraded position because they don't want to face the truth. It is a conspiracy. Ebola was created probably in Washington, D.C., just like AIDS and everything else. Washington, D.C., that's where these viruses, these microorganisms are created, and Switzerland, Germany, places like that. Ain't no bush meat. And I'm going to tell you something else. When you Google the green monkey,
right.
When you Google the green monkey and see how small the green monkey, you will know that there's no way possible that a human being can have sex with that monkey.
Right.
Okay? So the idea of somebody taking a monkey or gorilla and having sex with that is preposterous.
Right.
These people know what's going on.
Right.
They don't want to hear the truth. The truth is this is a warfare against these vampires. They want our DNA, they want our blood, and they will do whatever it takes to survive. But it's going to backfire. They're not getting away with this. Now this is it doesn't matter what sex you are. It doesn't matter what race you are. This is going to hit all these white folks. They don't have the DNA or the bloodline or the strength or the bone to survive this type of attack. Ebola's been in Africa for eons.
Right.
Now the problem.
Right.
Those I'm gonna hang up. Those Secret Service people, the NSA, the CIA, the Red Cross, FEMA, they're injecting those people with these so-called viruses. Just the same thing that happened in Haiti. Ain't nothing changed.
Right.
There ain't nothing changed. It's just different people. Hope that reinstate all the maps. I love you, brother.
All right, thank you.
I want to ask a question, but this is a fabulous show, and I'm glad you brought this to the forefront.
Thank you,
I'll
brother.
shut up and I'll listen.
Okay.
Be well.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Now, according to
thank you.
all right, have a great one. According to the World Health Organization, the death toll rises to 4,447 people. That is insane. That's insane.
Crazy.
Now, Mac, I want you to give that brother talk. You heard what he just said.
Yeah.
All right, I want you to respond to that and tell me what you think.
I'm going to respond to it because you know that's down my alley.
Right.
Look, AIDS, gays, blacks, and the CIA. This is an article I just told you about.
Right.
Written, you can find it online, by Dr. Leonard G. Horowitz, Horowitz, AIDS and the Ebola. Where did they really come from?
Right.
I'm going to shoot this at you, and I'll let you discern for yourself.
Okay. Well,
All right.
why don't you just tell us? Give it to us. You and I talk about it offline. Why don't you talk? Why don't you talk a little bit about it right now and respond to this brother's?
This is what was going on during the Holocaust. Nazi scientists say non-Aryan blood to determine race-specific disease susceptibilities. Blacks and homosexuals, along with Jews, were persecuted by the Nazis. Now, over 10,000 gay men were murdered.
Right.
Similarly, the U.S. did the same thing. Intelligence agencies have been targeting blacks and gays for assassination. This is according to Horowitz. Harassment, illegal wiretaps, and counterintelligence campaigns from the McCarthy era in 1950s to Reagan's era in the 80s. American black and gay civil rights groups and their leaders were considered communist threats during the Cold War years, particularly during the 1960s and 70s. Now think about the time frame.
Right.
We're talking about Ebola in 76.
Right. Right.
When Nixon, Kissinger, and Hoover supported COINTELPRO, COINTELPRO,
Right.
funding for covert FBI and CIA activities aimed at neutralizing all such domestic and foreign black homosexual threats.
Wow.
The use of the third world people and American blacks in prisons for pharmaceutical experimentation and covert economic, social, environmental exploitation by the U.S. and other Western countries has been repeatedly alleged by reputable sources. This has come from Horowitz. And
Wow.
I read it virtually word for word.
Wow.
Like I said, you can find it for yourself. Man, it's more
Now,
stuff in here.
so
It
so let me ask you though, in your opinion, Mac, that is this a way for the government to kill off a race of people?
Yes,
Yeah? You think so?
I think so. Just like Planned Parenthood was designed to kill off what? African people in America. Planned Parenthood is not for you. How can you have a organization here in America started by a racist lady, such as the one who started Planned Parenthood, having your best interest at heart? You
Right.
can't.
Right. Now,
The more
when you
work
say,
is
wait,
done under
the
Planned
woman.
Parenthood, man, do your homework on that and you'll find out.
Now, let me tell us about that, Mac. Tell us about. You say Planned. It's funny you brought that up because I was gonna do my director, Nat Wood. I was gonna ask him if we would do a show about Planned Parenthood. But since you brought it up, do you know the woman who started Planned Parenthood?
Yeah.
I mean, not personally, but I'm saying there was rumor that she was a racist, and I heard the same thing.
Serious racist.
That's
Margaret
crazy.
Sanger,
Yes.
Sanger,
Right.
was
Right.
a devout racist.
Right. Right. Wow.
And the project was created to sterilize black women, unknowingly sterilize black women.
Right. Really? Yeah, I didn't know that. Because Planned Parenthood is funded. It was funded partially by the government. Her name was Margaret Sanger. Yeah, Sanger. That's interesting. But you know what? We're going to get off the Ebola virus really quick because we had another topic. And this is going to be far to the right, police brutality that's going on in America. Let's hop on that real quick. We got about 20 minutes. Let's talk about police brutality. When I was coming up, I've been fortunate, knock on wood, that I haven't been harassed by the police. And I'm a black man, as you can see. I have not ever been harassed by the police. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm carrying myself. But police brutality, especially in New York City, NYPD is by far, we used to believe LAPD was the worst. NYPD is out of control. You've heard the stories, right, Mac, about NYPD?
Yeah, they organize gangs. That's
Right.
all I heard between LAPD and NYPD.
It is crazy. Like, we just recently, we heard about the chokehold. The two people I don't even know. We as a community, because it affects, like we have this thing called stop and frisk. Well, they say not so much, but the policeman was caught on camera stopping to frisk a young man and his girlfriend, and he was caught taking the money out of the kid's pocket and putting it in his. Now, I don't know. You tell me.
See, that's been going on for eons, for years.
Yeah.
Now with the invention of the cell phone camera,
Right.
it's finally getting recognized.
Right. Right. Just like that couple, that family in the car. I think they were in, I want to say Missouri, where, yes, this is it right here. You could see the cop taking the money and putting it in his pocket. That's crazy. That's crazy. And what about the family who the lady didn't have on the seatbelt and took his baton and bust the window when the kids are in the car? Policemen are out of control all over the country, man.
Right. But you know what, and this is just a little tidbit of history. Police, the organization police were designed to catch runaway slaves. That's where the whole organization of police, that thought process came from. I'm just throwing that out there.
Right.
Just a tidbit. But now, in the modern times, look, you got a lot of people coming back from tours in Iraq. You've got to, debrief these people. People are getting hired because of, military status and all that. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But if I'm coming from Iraq, first thing I'm going to do is grab my gun, correct?
Right.
If I'm in a hostile situation,
right.
That's the first thing that you taught by the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines to kill. You shoot.
Right, right.
Of course, you got rules of engagement, but that's the first thing you taught.
And
back stateside.
And you know what's interesting? It's funny you say that. I find it very interesting that, yes, when you come back from war, you have somewhat of PTSD without a doubt.
Yes.
Why would you hire, I know you're trained to do, but why would you hire someone that's coming back from war to be a cop?
Right. And like I said, the issue is not hiring them, it's your training process. So me, personally, I think that whole system needs to be revamped because, one, I know, just coming from working through the system myself, I can diffuse a lot of the fires that are started by talking, the way I approach people, the way I treat people.
Absolutely.
Or I can start a fire.
Right, right. We got a call, Mac. Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Brother Lassiter. I just called a little while ago.
Hey, yes.
And you just had this situation where the cop took the money from the guy.
Right.
Now, Patty Lynch, the head of the policeman's PBA, says, oh, well, 30 seconds doesn't tell what happened during the whole confrontation. Now, I saw the whole tape.
Right.
Okay? And this guy that got his money taken from him was actually trying to help the police.
Right. Oh, wow.
Because he was standing 12 feet away from another situation in which a guy was resistant. And the guy that got his money taken was telling the brother that was on the fence to give up your hands. Don't fight. Don't resist.
Right.
Okay? So after they finished with him, this one particular cop walks away from the other crowd and pepper sprays this guy and takes his money.
Right.
Okay, because he's saying that the guy was interfering with what the police were doing when this guy was actually trying to help the police. And the other woman that got pepper sprayed, if you watch the whole tape, she's actually retreating. She's backing up, and she's got her hands in the air.
Right.
And he still pepper sprays her in the face.
Right.
Okay? So that cop may have a hard time explaining his actions because these people absolutely did not even try to interfere with the police. Like I said, they were trying to help the police.
Right.
And this is what happened.
Well, and Kenny, not to cut you off, but there were other cops standing there watching this all take place.
Yes, and they should be held accountable.
Absolutely.
They should be held accountable too, just like the other cops that stood around and watched Eric Garner get choked out.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They all should go down because and there was another situation where a young man was punched by a police officer in Brooklyn.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And a third officer just stood there and watched this guy get punched out. So these guys, and when they stand around and watch, they're just as guilty as the one that's committing the act.
Absolutely.
So they should be removed from service. So Brenton is really trying to crack down on this stuff here with these rogue officers and racist people. He should start with these people right here.
Now, let me ask you this, Kenny. Mayor de Blasio, what is he doing about it? Because obviously this police chief is ineffective because this has gotten worse. This is worse than when Bloomberg was in office.
Well, I think it took a class war going on now because Mayor de Blasio and Reverend Sharpton have formed somewhat of an alliance, and the police department against de Blasio and Sharpton because they're trying to get his First Lady's top aide removed from office because of her past or her background. So I think it's a war between the two.
Right.
And it's not making our city look good. As a matter of fact, it's dividing our city more than it did in the past. So
right.
I think this mess needs to be cleaned up.
Right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. Thanks. Now, Mac, you still there, right?
I'm still here.
Now, I don't know how much you've heard about what's going on in New York. You live in the D.C. area. You live in Maryland, right?
I live in Maryland.
Right. Now, back in the day when I lived down there, PG County was the worst. What PG County was the one? We lived in D.C. We knew to stay out of PG County because PG County was like NYPD now in New York. Now, how is it down there where you live?
I live in Charles County, and PG, I'm not saying that they are the worst at this point. To be honest with you, I tiptoe everywhere because you never know who you're going to deal with, and most of the time it's these young guys that come at you, black or white. It's the
right.
younger ones that always want to try you,
right.
even though you're peaceful. And that's what I keep employing to my young nephews. Look, humble, you got to dumb down with these guys because they're looking for a fight. They want to prove themselves, some
right.
of them.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying all the police officers are bad.
Right.
G. Please don't get me wrong.
No, I got you. I understand.
I got several guys that are in the agency, and they, you know, I know what they go through because
right.
sometimes we can be ignorant, and then they're forced to do what they have to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's an epidemic with us too, as far as.
Well,
look,
you know what, Mac? I
follow
tell everybody, whether you're right or whether you're wrong, when a policeman asks you to do something, when you're out in the street, I say comply.
Right.
Comply.
Comply.
You cannot win that fight. Okay?
No, you're going to make it worse.
You're going to make it worse. And you know what? At that point, he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. You comply, you will get your day in court.
Right.
Now,
and that's when you hit them with all the legalities because they like to pay in D.C. I mean, in this area, they have money, so they like to pay. They've got lots of lawsuits.
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing I can figure out.
Right.
But
I think
you got to come with your bullets in the gun, not literally, but
right. Right.
if you are in the right, know your rights.
Know your rights. And
Bottom
don't
line, know your rights.
No back.
But,
you know what? And you know these young. I'm telling everybody. I see it every day. Policemen like NYPD. I'm not going to say every NYPD cop is bad because they're not. Because I know some NYPD guys and they're straight, real cool guys. But from what we see, what we've been seeing, it's been horrible. It's been horrible all over the country when it
Right.
comes to people of color.
right.
Now, I don't know. Call me a conspiracy nut, but the only people that are being shot, killed, are black people.
That's what you see most of the day. And according to the little stats I pulled up, unarmed black man in NYC, New York City, you guys are the highest
Yeah.
ones to get shot.
Right. I think we have another call. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the air. Welcome to 30 Frames.
Yes, hello. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I wanted to say that ever since the native Indians, extermination and sterilization has always been the policy, and it will always be the policy. Planned Parenthood has just consumed thousands of more reams of paper. As far as the cops, well, if cops don't start turning in cops, then I don't want to hear that not all cops are bad. If you're a cop and it's your job to put criminals away and you don't put your own away, you're just as guilty.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Cops.
What's the reality of that, though?
There is the reality of that. It's not a reality, because I agree with this. I agree with the caller because if you're a cop and you see a cop doing something wrong, you turn that cop in. But we know in the real world that won't happen. That will not happen.
Right.
So I don't even know. I don't even know where to go from here because it's happening every day all over the country. We hear about the extreme cases on the news, but we know for a fact that it's happening. We had it happening. San Francisco, Oakland, predominantly black communities are being affected.
There's no way I should be afraid to be pulled over by a police officer.
Right.
But every time it happens, every time I see a blue light behind me, coming in front of me, I get scared. I'm 210 pounds. I work out. You know, I have my issues.
Right.
I can handle myself.
Right.
But when I see these guys coming at me from behind, first thing they do, put their hands on their gun.
Right. Right.
So who is not? I put my hand on the steering wheel and I act like a little female. And that I should never have to feel like that, especially at night when I don't know what's going on.
Right.
I can't see them, but they can see me. But the first thing that, and like I said, it goes back to a systematic issue to me, G.
Yep.
Training. You don't have to shoot to kill all the time.
Right.
You can shoot. You got most of the guys now have tasers.
Right.
Right. I see if your life is in jeopardy, do what you do.
Right.
But you don't have to shoot an unarmed man and kill him.
Yeah. Well, you know
That's
what?
the one with his hands behind his back on his knee.
Right.
You shoot him from the back, and you got these fools in St. Louis, the Cardinals, who I will burn my hat, and I might do it on YouTube and post it on Facebook. I will no longer support St. Louis Cardinals.
No,
because of the
I agree.
foolishness.
I agree. I agree with you, because that just seems like it's a totally different world down there. It's crazy. It is crazy.
It's telling you all these other stuff that we're going through right now.
Right.
There are distractions from that, because that, my friend, I'm telling you, that's going to be the sparks to one of these unheard of revolutions that's going on. When people get tired of this police brutality, the first thing you do when you back a snake in the corner or a dog or any animal, that first instinct is what? To come out that corner fight.
Right. That's right.
When you get tired, and if I see somebody abusing one of my sisters or one of my younger brothers,
right,
and I'm at that point, and it's 10 more of me like that around there, who do you think is going to have to work? You got to get to that gun first. You might hit one.
Right.
But when the rest of them get to you, it's a done deal. And I'm not wishing that to happen. That's what I'm saying. They need to start the dialogue now, and they need to start retraining these officers to think differently, how to teach them how to interact with people.
That's
on any kind of people. It doesn't matter, black, white, Asian.
Right.
Interaction is the key.
That's right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the funny thing is that all these cops have the same, all over the country, not just NYPD, LAPD, all over the country has the same mentality. That same mentality, shoot, then ask questions.
Right. Shoot to kill, then ask questions.
You know what?
And then the third part of that, cover it up.
Right. Right. Cover it up. Yeah, exactly. But you know what we need to go back to? When I'm a little bit older than you, Mac, I'm a lot older than you, actually.
Yeah.
When we were coming up, in our school every year, we had Officer Friendly. And Officer Friendly came in to show the kids that police are cool. That's how the dialogue started. With that said, Mac, we got about 3 minutes. I want you to finish up. You tell me what's on your mind. Tell me, let's wrap this up. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, I appreciate it, G. First of all, again, thank you for the honor of coming on. You and Mr. Wood, I appreciate it. But as a country, man, we've got to do better. There's no need to militarize the police department. This is not a military state. Well, it's becoming that. But we don't need this. Until we all come together, black, white, Asians, whatever, Caucasians, look, it's always going to happen. You got to come together. You got to talk. You got to get these clowns up out of office that are in there now, because they're doing nothing but working for the corporations that are causing the majority of this stuff and keeping us divided.
Right.
So until we see that and we understand fully what's going on and get away from the distractions and start solving problems like what's going on down in Ferguson, instead of just sitting back and talking about them and stop this damn marching, because I've marched,
right,
but I ain't wearing out no more shoes.
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
There's no point to it. Right.
No point. Why? We're going to be in the same boat 2 weeks from now.
Right. Absolutely.
So we've got to come up with a plan, man, and that means all of us, because all of us are in the same boat.
Right.
You know, who's to say? They might go, the odds are not in that favor, but who's to say? Your next victims might come from Beverly Hills. Who knows?
Right.
The Hamptons. They might start targeting those people. No. But we're all the same. So we got to speak as one when it comes to this. If you see it, report it, record it,
Right.
tell somebody, hey, officer, you're in the wrong.
Right.
It's okay for you to say that.
Right. It's not against the law.
Right. It's not. That's your right. That's your constitutional right. And you can do a citizen's arrest. Now, sometimes I don't advise that.
No, I don't ever advise that.
Yeah, I don't advise that.
I don't ever advise
you're
that.
You're going to lose that battle.
Okay. Hey, Mac.
And I implore the brothers of color that are police officers to stop being the lesser person in this, too. Because, like I said, you should have a better rapport with your people than anybody else.
Absolutely.
You should be able to stop some of this nonsense before it starts.
Right. Mac, thank you so much. I will talk to you offline. Thank you for being a great guest. I look forward to doing this again on the radio next week, brother. Take care.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Tell Mr. Wood thank you, and I appreciate it also.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mac. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Take care. Be blessed.
All right. You guys, I want to thank everybody for watching me today, 30 Frames a Second. I want to thank my director and producer, Nat Wood, whose show makes this happen, Veronica Kitt, and Nolan, the audio. Man, this has been a great show, and you know what? We all need to come together as a group, not just black, white, other. We all need to come together as a group of people, because we can make things. We can affect change. That's just the bottom line. We can affect change. I know it's time to go. My name is Greg Lassiter, 30 Frames a Second. See you next week. Take care.